For lesson 7-5, we're going to find the volume of prisms and cylinders. So far we've been just working with area. Now when we start talking about volume, we're talking about the space inside of like a box. A prism would be like these two shapes here are examples of prisms. You kind of think of it more like a box. A prism has two bases. So you see right here, it's kind of has a capital B. It's pointing to the base of this prism. It's saying that the base is these two squares or rectangles. A prism always has two bases. They're always identical shapes. So like this triangular prism here, the base is the triangle, and then the other base would be back here. So we see this formula here is volume equals capital B. Now the capital B actually represents something special. Capital B means area of the base. Now the reason why we just say capital B times H is because the area of the base formula could be different. Like for this one, the area would be area equals base times height. But for this one, since it's a triangle, it'd be area equals 1/2 times base times height. And that would both be solving for area of the base. So you kind of think of like, a multi-story building. If we have a building here, all right, and we think of this just maybe as one story. If we have, let's say that this is just like one meter high. Then if we add another story, another level onto it, okay, let's say, obviously this is not a very good picture, okay, and this is another 1 meter, well then the total height of this two-story building would be 2 meters. So we would just double the volume of the first level to then figure out the entire volume of the entire thing. So we're going to be finding volumes of both prisms and cylinders. A cylinder would be like, a pop can or something like this. So then we're dealing with the area of a circle formula. So it says find the volume of the rectangular prism. So again, volume equals area of the base times the height. Now, the base is going to be volume equals, we're going to actually say base times height. That's the area of the base times the different height, okay? Now that's kind of confusing because I'm using H twice. H is actually referring to the height of the base, and then it's also referring to the height of the prism itself. So when I think of the area of the base, this would be my base right here, a 5x7 rectangle. So I'm actually going to do 5 times 7, and then the height of my prism would be 11. So volume equals, we would do 35 times 11. So let's go ahead and get our calculator out here. Alright, so we're going to get 5 times 7, which is 35, times 11 gives us 385. Now, we're going to do inches cubed. Alright, so volume is always cubed, okay? Just like perimeter would just be inches, area would be inches squared, and then volume would be inches cubed. Alright, so those are kind of the three different main types of measurements. Volume is always cubed. Why is it cubed? Because we're doing 5 inches times 7 inches times 11 inches. So inches times inches times inches would be inches cubed. Okay, and then we're doing the 5 times 7 times 11 to get 385. All right, let's go on to the next one. So it says find the volume of the triangular prism. So again, the formula doesn't change. Volume equals area of the base times height, except for the formula for area of the base changes because we're dealing with triangles. So I'm going to have 1/2 times the base times the height of the prism. Again, it's a little confusing because I'm dealing with two H's, and they both mean something different. So let's look at the first thing we need to look at is a triangle. This looks like a right triangle here. So my base is 15, and my height of my triangle is 9. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 15 times 9. Now, the height of my prism is this right here. So that's my 4. So that's all times 4. So now we're going to do volume equals. Okay, now we can jump onto our calculator and type all that in. I'm going to start with just doing 15 times 9 times 4. I'm going to hit equals. Now we need to divide that by 2. Multiplying by 1/2 and dividing by 2 are the same thing. So we're going to have 270 feet cubed. That would be my final answer there. Again, it's a little confusing because I have two H's here, okay, but remember this H refers to the base of the triangle. So we have this and this. This is actually the height of the triangle, and this is actually the height of the prism, okay, so the two H's actually mean different things. All right, so now when we're dealing with a cylinder, we're going to use the same formula again. Volume equals area of the base times the height, except for the area of the base formula is a circle, so it's pi r squared times the height. So pi r squared h is actually the formula for volume of a cylinder. So let's try this one out. So we'll go volume equals area of the base times the height. So now the area of the base is going to be pi r squared and then times h. So this one's a little bit nicer because we don't have two h's in there, so it doesn't get confusing. So pi is 3.14, r is 3, okay, we need to square that. And then the height of the cylinder is 12. Okay, and once we get it all written out, we can go to our calculator. We'll take 3.14 times 3 squared. Okay, so I'll use the squared button here. And then we're going to do times 12. So that equals 339.12. We're going to round it to the nearest tenth, so 339.1. That'll be centimeters cubed, because whenever you solve for volume, we're always going to have a cubic unit. Solving for volume, you get a cubic unit. All right, now it says a wooden block has a single hole drilled entirely through it. What is the volume of the block? So obviously, this hole isn't going to be included in our volume. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit. So what I need to do is I need to find the volume of the prism. So the total volume is going to be my volume of the prism minus the volume of the cylinder that's missing. So first I need to find the volume of the prism. So that's going to be volume equals area of the base times the height. So the base is going to be this, we'll say this rectangle right here is the base. So we have a 6. And then what is this? This is the 3. So we have 6 by 3. And then the height of my prism is 4. The volume equals, we can go ahead and work this out. We do 6 times 3 times 4 is 72 centimeters cubed. And now we need to do the volume of the cylinder. So volume equals area of the base times the height. Again, the base is now pi r squared h. So volume is going to be 3.14 times the radius. The radius is 1. We're going to do 1 squared. And the height would be from here to here, so that would be our 3 right there. All right, so we're going to do volume equals. Now, we got the formula all written out with numbers in it. We can go ahead and use our calculator, 3.14 times 1 squared. We know that 1 squared is 1. You can use it, punch in your calculator if you want, but 1 squared is 1 times 3 gives us 9.42. Don't round it because we're not at the end. So 9.42 centimeters cubed. Now we need to do volume of the prism minus cylinder. So 72 minus 9.42 would give us our total volume of this composite shape. So let's go ahead and do that. 72 minus 9.42. That equals 62.58. Now we can round to the nearest tenth, so 62.6 centimeters cubed. All right, so that would be my final answer there for that one. So what we did was we found the volume of the rectangular prism and we subtracted the volume of the cylinder that was drilled out. That's our last example for lesson 7-5.